So I'm using Meta AI on Instagram to help me put together my song. It took me about a month to do it. Um, I went ahead and just asked it like questions that I felt like it could help me out with. My main thing was um, worrying about um, people's attention span. You know, people are used to listening to short time songs, no longer than like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But I grew up, with like three verses, three hooks, and stuff like that, or like, just longer songs than that. Um, and I'm just trying to, get with the times. But I went ahead and I just asked it. I was like, can you pick the best parts of my lyrics and leave out the rest? Just kind of where I can just kind of say less, just give me something like a shortened version. And um, it said, it'd be happy to refine the lyrics. So I went about sending my lyrics and stuff like that. And then when I sent it, it gave me this here, but I wasn't really feeling it. So I was like, well, do one more, um, you know, and I was like, I don't really like that one. But it says the version maintains the core message and unique elements while adjusting the flow. So when it started saying like keywords like flow and just things like that, I was like, well, could you go more into that? So it started giving me, more refined, uh, versions of each little section that I would send it. And I was noticing that it was like, cutting, I guess, out some of my words, but to making it whereas the flow would just be kind of easy to follow. Cause I noticed when I'm writing my lyrics, I could flow for a good minute and then like it feels like I get stuck. It feels like all of a sudden like the beat changed or something like that. But one thing that stuck out to me was that it kept saying that like if you could just keep like the core message and like the emotion and the flow and everything like that, throughout the song, then you should be good. But it kept using words like uh, keeping everything like cohesive. So I guess like keeping everything like where it just feels like it just goes together. Because a lot of times like when I'm writing, it feels like I'm just rambling. It feels like I just kind of just like go like all over the place with it. And it did point that out, but it said that I have a way of like tying it back all in together. You know what I mean? So that it does make sense. So I asked it to, take all that I gave, and put it together, and it put this together for me, and I was like, I don't know. So I kind of went with it, but then at the same time, I just did my own little thing, and I'm just the whole point of me showing you all this is to just show you that like if you're, trying to improve your lyrics, or if you're just trying to see where it could go, or you're just trying to do any little tweaking, like the AI could help you. Uh, and it definitely helped me out a lot. Like I say, I did like 90% of the song, but and I felt like I was really done with it, but it showed me that I could really use some improving. So it said that I have like a unique voice. Uh, it says that I emotionally honest, uh, things like that, and it said that the lyrics convey a sense of vulnerability, anger, and determination, making them relatable. That's what I really want to do is try to make it all like relatable and and just be like very transparent. It says there are some vivid and memorable images throughout the lyrics, such as fluorescent aura, sub-zero rain, camera flash. Like it started to make it very clear to me like how to make a song, like how to craft a song. And here's again with the cohesion. So it says the compiled lyrics feel a bit disjointed with different themes and ideas jumping around. Consider revising. So I started treating this thing like when we was in school and you would send your paper, to the teacher and they send it back with all this red. pen like all over it, and they just wrote all over it like do this, fix this. This seems a little like what are you talking about right here? Explain. I did I did so many you know different versions, just taking it back and just revising it as much as I could until I felt like it was coming together, and this is what we did, like a lot of this stuff together. And it just kept giving me examples because I don't want my stuff to be wordy neither, or just confusing or anything like that. So it really helped me out a lot. It said something about stanzas, uh, and it just made it like very simple. It was like treated like it's like your verses are like broken up into like separate rooms, and like these rooms fit this theme, but like only so many can go into that room. So you want to have this room, and then you go to this room, and then you go to that room, and then next thing you know, you got your whole verse. And I'm like, okay, because it felt like to me like I was just trying to put it all together, and I guess that's what was messing up the flow. But when you really break it down, like how it's doing right here, like I guess like three little lines, and just making it less wordy. If you could just shorten it, then it helps out with the flow. And I was like, I do that here and there, but sometimes I get a little like uh I don't know. It's like I get a little tongue tied with that, and I just don't know where to really go with it. But it's like I have it right there, but I don't really know how to do that sometimes. It just like I just overdo it. But how I always thought about it was like I'll write my song and then I'll purposely like just throw the most at it, like just over crowd it with words and just do too much. And then I like to scoop out all the gunk and take out all the little things that don't really need to be there. And then I'm left with something that's like beautiful, like a masterpiece. And then I take the extra stuff that I have and then I can make a new song out of it, or I can do whatever I want to do with it. Or if I'm still editing and refining my lyrics, then I can bring back some of those lyrics into the song if that's what I want to do. But by the time I got done, I'm like, dang, I think this might be too long of a song. So I asked it to help me kind of break it down and just be able to say less. And well, the main thing it told me to do was be authentic. It said write from the heart and be true to yourself. Authenticity shines through in lyrics and makes them more relatable. Then it says edit and revise. Don't be afraid to make changes and revisions to your lyrics. Editing can help refine your ideas and make your lyrics more effective. Tell a story. People love stories. So try to incorporate narrative elements to your lyrics. Create contrast. Use repetition and rhyme. That one that helped me out with using repetition. Like if you say something in your lyrics, most people would be like, "Oh, you said that already," but it's like that sound cool sometimes. It said like you could put like a echo on it, on the echo effect, and then like it'll sound like good if you said it here in the beginning of the verse, and then like you said it again like in the middle of the verse or something like that, or the middle of the second verse or something like that. It could sound kind of cool because like you bringing in that repetition, but you also being, I guess, like you kind of wrapping up the story, and like now it's kind of coming together. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it's just teaching me like a little bit how to do this because I'm like still kind of learning. Uh, Use sensory details like sights, sounds, and smells to bring your lyrics to life. So like you can say like lights, stuff like that, sounds of like a car, or you can use effects like smell of like flowers, or smell of like whatever it is you got going on to like let the listener use their imagination. And so that's why it says show, don't tell. Instead of telling your listeners how to feel, show them through descriptive language and imagery. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I started putting, some things together, and it just kind of helped me out a little bit. Um, let's see. So I just kept asking the questions like, so how do we break it down so it'll be less wordy? Say like a 2.5 out of 5. And it is like, identify areas for improvement. Look for lines with multiple clauses or phrases. And I was like, I gotta be honest. Who was a clause and a phrase? It didn't tell me. I'm like, oh, and it explained to me in a way where I understand it. I was like, oh, so that's an example of a phrase. Okay, all right. I was like, can you reword this or shorten it? I take the road less traveled where shadows dance and streetlights gleam. Now that came up with that for me. It said that it said I take the road less traveled where shadows dance and streetlights gleam. I was like, I kind of see where you're going with that, but I like the streetlights gleam, so I definitely use that in my lyrics. I definitely use that. Um, and it showed me here again. Here are some reworded and shortened, versions. And I might not like it, but you take it and you just piggyback off of the stuff. You know what I mean? So I did that. Um, and then I just started just partnering up with this thing. Like I treated it like it was like somebody really trying to help me because I'm like I'm getting progress done. And again, like I said, it took me like a month, of just I'm just trying to get this song like right because if I'm gonna put this song out, this is gonna be a song that I'm gonna be singing for quite some time. So I want it to be like as good as it can possibly be. So I just really want to have fun with it because if you like a new artist or whatever, or you just like to learn, I think you should be curious about things that you don't know, and you could maybe learn from anybody. You could learn from this video. Um, you could like I say, you could take a song that you're currently working on or whatever, and just ask it anything, and I'm pretty sure like I could even take like this right here. Like say I don't feel like writing this, I could do that and just copy it, and then I can put that into my phone, and then just go with it like that. So I don't really have to write all this stuff down, and I can just look at it as long as I need to until I understand what it's talking about. Um, so I was like, "Did this sound okay?" So like this right here is the bridge. This is the bridge. But I ended up taking out the moonlit shadow sway, and I put that somewhere else. But I ended up making this like a lot better. But I'm just showing y'all like how the progress, you know, how the process, I should say, went. Because I want to document everything that I'm doing because I want people to see like the process of what it's like for an artist to make, anything that we got going on because a lot of people think it's just so easy and they just see like the part where you're done and you're finished and stuff like that and they just make it look easy opposed to showing you how hard it is, how frustrating it is when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up, when you don't know if it's good enough or not, when you get frustrated, when you get confused, when you get writer's block, when you need help and ain't got no help and you got to figure it out all by yourself. I want to show that part. I want to show that. So I'm just showing all this stuff here. And well, you know, I'm really like talking to it. I'm like, thanks, you're really helpful. uh, then I said, what words or phrases could I use to make my song more pleasing to the ear? I like when I hear a song And like they just say like the simplest little things, but it is like, did you get that from a book or did you get that from a movie or like a poem or something? Because like, why you say it like that? But it just sounds so smooth. It sounds so good, and I'm like, how can I do that? So it said these little things right here, and I was like, oh, I like the assonant phrases. I think is how you say it. A sonnet. I don't know. Phrases. I like the echoes of eternity. I like that, but I'm gonna say it like a little differently. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use echoes. I like that. I like that. Like, this is cool. I might not really say it exactly like that, but I like the moonlit midnight skies. I like that. I like that. It's giving like an image, of just like this atmospheric type things. I noticed that when I make my beats, I like something that's like atmospheric, like pads, giving like like a spacey type vibe, like a almost like a outer space type vibe. Like I kind of like just a little bit. Like I like it to taste. I don't like it like too much. I just like it to taste. I like using like different sound effects that sound like some alien type stuff or like some movie, like a movie scene type stuff, but just to taste, like not too much. I like using like sound effects the like of nature and stuff like that and rain and stuff like that, but just a little bit, not too much. Uh Yeah, so like I said, like I took that, uh, and it got a little bit better, like I said, but then it says, I think you've made some interesting changes, and I definitely made some changes. And then it just tried to make a clearer image. So it definitely did that. And I was like, hmm. And then I said, well, under midnight sky, streetlights gleam, protective, lead the way for me. Can I say protective? And then it said you tweak the line again. Using protective is the context is interesting choice. While it's not a traditional adjective to pair with lead the way, it does convey a sense of safety. So I was like, okay, I don't like that then because you putting it like that. Is it worth though the original? Is it worth it though? So I'm like, I don't know what I meant by that. I'm like, to make it flow better, you could consider phrasing the line. Okay, yeah, I was like, so, but they said ultimately it's up to you to decide whether the revisions are worth it or if you prefer the original's unique character. So I just experimented, like they said, and I just kind of just went with it. But overall, they just helped me refine it. I noticed, some songs may or may not have substance. And I wanted to ask, like, what does you know, this song have? Like, does it have the all the things that it need to have within it, or is it just something that just sounds all right? And it says, it has a clear theme of spiritual growth, self-reflection, and guidance. The lyrics convey a sense of longing for spiritual maintenance, taking a journey, symbolized by the spiritual spaceship, and seeking guidance from the universe. The imagery is vivid and evocative with phrases like moonlit shadows sway, midnight skies, and streetlights gleam, creating a dreamy, ethereal atmosphere. While the song's message might be somewhat abstract, it has a clear emotional resonance and explores themes that resonate with many people. And then it said, to add more substance, to answer my question, is like you can consider developing the narrative or storyline, introducing more specific emotions or personal experiences. So I'm like, so how are we gonna do that? And that right there is just something different because I had some stuff going on with me. So I started asking all type of questions. Uh, but okay, so I sent this right here, and I'm like, well, and I'm doing fine, by the way. Um, it was just a bit of confusion, but I'm fine. Uh, and so we go into it. I send it these lyrics, and we go from there. And it started sending me stuff like the pictures just to give me like a visual, because I was kind of going off with it, and I was like, well, hmm, I don't know if I really want to keep this part, but it says something like your lyrics effectively convey a sense of urgency, caution, and the harsh conditions of the environment. I like when it said that because it made me feel like I really did change the atmosphere within the song. But I ended up not really going with the blow up your pistol, don't squeeze, whatever I said. I ended up just going with I did use the Acme Hour time because I used to watch that a lot. We used to watch uh, Looney Tunes, and I had like a Looney Tunes reference in the song, and I was like, I want to use that. So I used that a little later on, but we definitely, you know, kind of did, piece this stuff together. But just me going back and forth with AI, like it just kind of helped me realize that I could really do a little bit better than what I was doing. So that's why I say I was like only like 90% done, but it definitely helped me out with that. So I'm gonna skip all that part right there. Yeah, but yeah, definitely helped me out though. Uh, so what question did I ask you to make it say that? So I said, what's a poetic way I say or describe what my father is to me as his son, but in a song? So I'm like, hmm. So I look at the list, and I'm like, I kind of don't really like that at all. I'm like, not sure about the mood. I don't know. I'm like, So they sent me another one, like based on the genre I might be doing. I'm like, I don't really know. So I say, go deeper, yet sad or pain, but an admiration or belief of better days. And it was really throwing some good ideas at me, but I'm like, I see like like what I was gonna have to do was kind of like think for myself, but I was just trying to get some ideas, and I was gonna have to make the decision ultimately. But I'm like, I wonder if people really write like this though. So I definitely like had some help, but overall, I just wanted it to be like good. See, they could even remember like so this I guess all that happened within 3 days. That stuff crazy. And then it's like it can recall snippets of the conversation, but it don't have comprehensive memory. But I had to send it again, so I sent some stuff because I want to make sure that like I'm really getting it right. You know what I mean? And they like, here's a poetic rendition of it, and I kind of liked it, but I'm like, uh, maybe I'll take little pieces from it, or get little ideas from it, just from just kind of glancing at it, but that ain't really what I'm going for. Luckily, I just had a vision and I just knew where to go with it. Because otherwise, I probably would have did any old little thing. You know what I mean? But I just kind of know what I'm trying to do with it. I just could use a little support, just to see if it could be better. And now I feel a whole lot more confident about my song because I definitely kept coming back in here and just getting to it with it. Uh, so it definitely gave me like different references and stuff like that. Um, I think I got this from a song I was listening to, and then I think it was Daniel Caesar, and he was some song. He was like, "If I am the sky, then you are the sea, staring back at me." Yeah, like that shit. That shit was hard as fuck, right? So I was like, so I was like, okay, I like that. So I was like, can you maybe like help me like do something sort of like that, but not exactly like that. So I'm like, it says right here, like, I need you, like the tide needs the shore. I was like, okay, I like that part right there. Like, right there. I like that. So I took that, but I didn't take the rest of the stuff. I didn't really like that. But I admired it, and I was like, okay, uh, this is kind of cool. I like the our paths collided. Thank God our paths collided and our hearts entwined. But I like the our paths collided part. So like I said, I just take little bits and little pieces. Uh, you know, in your love, I find my peaceful place, my forever aligned. So I just take forever aligned. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, cool. This is kind of helping me out. So I said, one last cry. I'm lying forevermore. The shore needs a tide. Our paths collide. Mirror reflection. We're forever aligned. Like that's deep. So I took that. You know what I mean? And they told me it's pretty good and stuff like that. And he told me why. He said the one last cry implies a sense of, I have no idea how to say that word, catharsis. I have no idea what that word means. And release. But yeah, let's see. I'm lying forevermore. Suggestion surrender, and letting go, and commitment. So these are like keywords, like kind of helping me like the like interconnectedness, of two people. It's kind of helping me like get it together a little bit, implying a destined encounter, our paths collide. So I'm like, my song lasts 3 minutes. It probably don't. Probably lasts longer than that. I worry about people's attention span or making them bored with what we've gone over. Any do you have any word of encouragement or advice? Something like that just help me out. Uh, and it just told me like in short, like don't even worry about that shit. Like it's like if you got a good song, then you got a good song. And if you could just make the beat like really good, then like you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Like if you can make the beat interesting, like the beat itself to tell a story or whatever, like it'll be good. You won't have to worry about nothing. So I'm gonna be using an app called Suno it's like AI as well to like just help me like make my beat that I have like even better. But then I'm gonna also use Output. They have something called Co-Producer, and they it does the same thing. But I'm gonna compare and contrast like these different versions, and then just try to pick like the best beat, or you know uh, combine and make like the best version for me, and just make a really good beat, because I feel like that's all it really need, because I got everything else uh, that I need. So that's pretty much what I did, but I definitely kept coming back in here and just going over it until we got it together. And once we got it together, you know, that was it. So y'all could definitely use AI. I mean, to just help you refine your lyrics.